Okay, welcome back again. This is Adil here, and this is final video, part number 5. So they are the perceived attributes of innovations. Now, any innovation, before you adapt it, whether it is a public health campaign, publicity, or like a promotional material or something, or an innovation or an app or a smart technology that you want to adapt. Any innovation has some attributes. Now, what are those attributes? First, before you adapt or buy a new phone, you must check whether it has relative advantage or not. It is compatible with your own values and experiences. It has some level it is not that complicated level of complexity. You can try it before you adapt it, and then you can observe the outcomes. Okay, now, relative advantage is like meaning that better than before, economic, social. If we go to boiling water, now boiling water is for Peruvian villages, peasant villagers. Is it better than before? You see what I mean? Is it economic, social, there's social prestige, convenient, they get satisfied? Yes, if it is, then it has that attribute of innovation. The same thing, if you want for your group project, you want to create a public good hashtag or campaign, people would ask, should I retweet this message or hashtag? Does it have relative advantage to the community or not? Compatibility, is the hashtag or is the campaign or the innovation compatible with the values and past experiences of people? Is it very complex? Like the germ theory. The Peruvian villages perceived as, what is this complexity, germ theory, invisible enemies, what kind of things these guys are talking about. That's why they did not adapt. Triability, the same thing. Even if you want to buy a new car, you go and say like test drive, you try it, you like it, you buy it. So you experiment it. So triability. For example, let's say with a triability, let's say that you wanted to diffuse a public campaign about physical activity and exercising. People, when they try like jogging for like 30 minutes per day, would they enjoy it or not? If they enjoy it, then they will continue. Otherwise, they will not. So this is how innovations get diffused or not. Now, they are like observability. Outcomes of innovation. A public campaign about health lifestyle. If they go and exercise 30 minutes per day, do they see that their health improved or not? That would decide whether they will adopt that public campaign or not. Okay. Now, the reinvention is very, very important for any innovation. I'm telling you, these days, forget about coming up with a totally new thing. If you can do that, great, go for it. But I think maybe you are highly encouraged to reinvent instead of inventing new things. If you talk about Facebook, okay, Facebook was like, people like it, but Facebook is the first thing there. Actually, no. There was MySpace before Facebook. They reinvented it in a very good, they repackaged it in a very good way, so the user interface was different. If you go, for example, Airbnb, okay, is Airbnb is like, wow, it's innovative idea. Yes, but it was reinvention of other similar existing innovations before. That depends on crowdsourcing, like Uber, for example. You see. Okay. Then we go to communication channels. We have discussed a lot about communication. Is the essence of diffusion process. So the essence of diffusion is communication, simple. Without that, no diffusion and no dissemination. Simple. That's why there are a lot of schools of communications. I mean, in this part of the world, in the Middle East, there are only few schools on communication, unfortunately. Life is about communication. You cannot not to communicate. Simple. Now, if we break down, there is an innovation, like let's say public campaign, There is an individual, other unit of adaptation who has knowledge, a person who has knowledge, who has experienced, who has tried the product or the innovation. Another individual who does not have yet knowledge about the product. So let's say you guys have, okay, hey, I know about Snapchat, I'm using it. That Snapchat is an innovation. You know you are using Snapchat, you want your friends to use it. They don't have knowledge about it, and you want to convince them to use Snapchat, for example. Now you need to activate communication channels so you can connect the dots and convince them, hey guys, these are good products, you know. And you can do the same thing if you have a public campaign, okay. Mass media channels, most rapid and efficient, including social media. Interpersonal communication is the most effective to me. They're very powerful. Okay, most people rely mainly on subjective evaluations of innovation and not on scientific studies. Yes, I can tell you that. I gave you my example of adapting that I saw this billboard about an app. I didn't download it, but I ended up adapting it by personal network, you know. Evaluation that was communicated, so this ed spelling mistake here, that was communicated from other individuals like themselves who have already accepted and adapted the innovation. Interpersonal communication network. So for example, if there is like an innovation like wearable smartwatch, they're like, oh, this is really great, you know, it can measure your heart pulse, your steps, how many kilometers you have walked. Yes. And then somebody will tell you, you know what, but you know, there are many studies scientifically prove that this is good, blah blah blah. You won't adapt it because of scientific evidence. But most likely, maybe yes, but most likely you will adapt it because of the close circle, your close circle of your friends, people around you who would convince you to use it. Great. Moving to the next slide. Now, another elements of diffusion is time. Innovation decision process is an information seeking process. Simple. It goes through these phases. Now, before you adapt this one, before you adapt anything, you need to have an awareness. Awareness. Let me just type that. Okay, so this kind of sounds weird. You must have awareness, and then you must have interest. Without awareness, without interest, you will never adapt. So you need, this is how the phase work actually. You must have an awareness, then you must have an interest. If no interest, you will never adapt it. Simple. Okay, so you have knowledge, awareness, and understanding. You must once you have an awareness, you will be either persuaded or not, depending whether you form favorable or unfavorable attitude toward innovation. For example, for me, I saw this big billboard publicizing about an app, but I did not form any favorable or unfavorable. I had an information. I was very much aware of the app, but I did not have an interest until through interpersonal network. Then you make a decision, you engage in activity, whether to adapt or not. Then you implement, you actually use it. In my case, I implemented, I downloaded an app. Then you have this confirmation. You are like, oh, it's very interesting. So then I started telling my network, like, you know what, guys, this is an app. It's really interesting. So seeking reinforcement. Like, I'm using this app by the government, this institution. It's really amazing, fascinating, you know. Okay. And then we have time. So here are the main components, categories of adapters. You have innovators, early adapters. This is the main theory of Rogers. Okay. Early adapter, early majority, later majority, and laggards. So venturesome, these are people who have interest in new ideas, clique of innovators, they just like to try anything new out there. Early adapters, they kind of respect new innovations. They are more integrated into the local systems. These are like opinion leaders, change agents. They help to trigger the critical mass. So if you have a social media influencer promoting about something, yeah, this is like, there are people who are also if there are people who are also connected to these influencers, they will also be more likely to adapt. And then there are early majority adapt before average adapters. Okay, interact frequently. Okay, but less opinion leaders. These are not opinion leaders. Okay. Then you have later majority. These are skeptical. They are not sure. They are confused. They don't know. Should I download this app? Should I should I boil the water or not? Should I do this or that? These people, they adapt after the average members of system economic, they have adapted, And then you have laggards, traditional, no opinion. They are not opinion leaders. They have limited resources. They have resistance. You can consider me as when it comes for me to use Snapchat. I don't have Snapchat till now. I'm maybe laggard. I fall into this category. Maybe I'm not even an adapter at all. Go to that, there's an Amish, a good example in the lecture notes. Chapter number 1, it's very interesting. Go and read about Amish culture and how they adapted technology, or the late adapters of technology. Now this is the model, Rogers diffusion of innovation model. Here it is. You have early adapters here, they go the time, late adapt. It always go like this. Okay. The final 2 slides is social system. We know what is social system is like individuals. Informal groups, organizations, etc. These are social structures, system norms. You need to understand social system. So let's say that you have an innovation, but that innovation that you have contradicts local cultures, local norms in Oman. Nobody would adapt it. You see, that innovation should fit the cultural norms. Now, who are the opinion leaders? You may call them influencers. These are members of social system, more exposed to all forms of external communication. They have highest probably socioeconomic status. They have strong social capital, probably financial capital as well. They are innovative, respected. They have high prestige in the society, influential in communication networks. Now that's why when you analyze using Gephi, the hashtag that you did in assignment, individual assignment, you saw like people who have high positions, their network positions, center of interpersonal network. Okay. Final slide. These are the definitions. I will just let you read. You can understand them. But to briefly explain, critical mass, if you want to diffuse your hashtag, you are sending your hashtag and few people are tweeting about it, you'll be working hard, like sending message, retweet, favorite, but once everybody goes, many people, like 100, 200 people are talking about it, then it goes to a level, it's called like a critical mass, meaning that nothing, any task is required from you, because the hashtag has reached a self-sustaining moment in which people are talking about the hashtag, and you, without doing anything, other people are talking about it. So it is like critical mass stage. Everybody has adapted it. You see? So critical mass, let's say you like an iPhone. When it started, nobody bought it, They're like, what is this, Few people started, 100, 200, 1,000 people started using it. And then people started liking it. Millions of users. It reached to that critical mass, self-promoting, self-sustaining, meaning that even Apple doesn't have to do any ads and commercials and promotions, you know. Opinion leaders we just discussed in the previous slides, the degree to which an individual is influential, etc. Uncertainty, we discussed the degree to which a number of alternatives are given to you. Now you are required, should I buy, I shouldn't buy, you see, should I boil the water or not? Okay, so that is for elements of diffusion. For your group projects, I highly recommend you to go and read these concepts of elements of diffusion. You might want to engage in interaction on Twitter about this. And that's it for elements of diffusion chapter. Next chapter will talk about memes and or contagion probably. Okay, stay at home and stay safe.